5.
And do it. To another one.
All right. Number 2. Topic of the day. I don't know if I want to use the word essentials, but if we were having a conversation with our 18-year-old selves, what advice would we give?
Entirely. Oh, man, that is the prime time to start beginning to understand what it is we need to do in life, right? Because you're just trying to figure all of those things out. You're trying to figure out relationships, physical health, careers, just everything. And if we could physically talk to our 18-year-old selves, man, there's...
no amount of money. Take my money. How much do you want?
Not that I regret in any way the life I have. It's the things that we've learned from that, right? So this is that conversation to impart any of that wisdom anywhere.
Yeah.
So when I think of that, I think of quite a few realms of topics that are pertinent to me. I think I'm trying to think which one hits like the highest rung of importance. I don't think this is by any means the most necessary one, but one that jumped out at me that I did do as an 18-year-old and through the rest of my life that I think is extremely useful is having a creative outlet. Somewhere where you internally can just express whatever it is you want to in a creative way. I think that's extremely useful. It helps you think creatively and more so just express whatever you internally want to. Because the world's going to expect a lot from you. You're going to feel that pressure from everywhere. But if you have some level of a creative outlet, that's just your ability to release whatever it is you need to. For me, that was music growing up, right?
Yeah.
So playing drums since I was 12. Didn't really like it until I got in my later teens, and then it just became like life almost. But I don't know if the same applies to you or not, but I find a creative outlet extremely worthwhile.
Yeah. I'm like, per the most accurate personality test I've done from a reputable source, Jordan B. Peterson, I ranked like 82 in creativity percentile or openness or...
No, I think it's creativity. And I think something that's useful about that is I'm like in the 50th percentile, right?
And that's crazy, yeah.
So even someone who's like middle of the road, I think it is that important to just have some outlet for that.
Yeah, so for me, it's like, well, yeah, I need to, or I would literally become a raisin.
Right,
you know?
Right.
But that's interesting to hear from someone who's
completely
average, you know, that even you need something creative,
Yeah. So I guess that's the first one that jumps at me. What's something that jumps at you there?
I would say if I could only give one sentence, invest in Amazon.
Oh, dang, perfect. Yeah. That would have been it.
No, it would be mentally prepare yourself. And what I mean by that is a war is coming. Now, the war is not World War III.
No.
And it's not a war that's about to start. It's the war of good versus evil. It's been going on since the very beginning. It is going on right now, and it'll continue long after we are dead.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing about evil is it doesn't eat, it doesn't sleep, and the less it is confronted, the larger and stronger it becomes. And yeah, you're 18. Don't even focus on the world's problems yet.
No.
Focus on yourself, but understand that the world needs you. And you are about to face a battle of body, mind, and soul that at the current moment you can't even comprehend.
Yeah.
And you're going to face it, a little bit of it, at least a little bit of it every single day.
Yep.
And some days it's going to consume every single second, breath, and ounce of energy you have. And prepare yourself. Prepare your body, your mind, and your soul because the battle's coming, and whether you like it or not, you're going to be on the front lines. And most importantly, the world needs you.
Yep.
And I don't mean like the world, but you're going to need you.
Yep.
Your future self is going to need you. Your loved ones, family, community, country, and maybe even the world. So yeah, prepare your mind.
I could not agree with that more. I think that hits right on the nail, or hits the nail right on the head. I think you said the war is coming. The war is here, right? And I think some people are going to hear that and they're going to feel like, oh, what a war. No, like legitimately, your soul's going through a war on a constant basis, and that is manifest throughout our entire existence. So I think to roll into that, one of my favorite quotes by Jocko Willink, former Navy SEAL, is discipline equals freedom. I could not agree with that statement more. If you want anything in life, and this kind of coincides with where you're going with this, you need to be disciplined about anything. You want more free time? Okay, be disciplined with the things you need to get done. You want to learn more of something? Okay, be disciplined in the practice you're doing it. You want to be a better communicator? Okay, be disciplined in how you're learning to communicate things. Whatever it is that you want in life, if you need to be able to be better at something, you need to learn discipline in whatever manner that is. So dealing with the war around us, if you are unprepared, if you are just laissez-faire, not dealing with it, not concerned about it, not concerned about everything that's going to come at you in life, then it will dominate you. You will not stand a chance. And you won't even realize it is the part that I think, like, the 18-year-old version of me would listen to what I'm saying right now and be like, okay, great, dude. That sounds real awesome.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, seriously. But realistically, the hard part with that is you need to be able to take that deep look into this is happening.
Well, we all have a certain level of naivety, and the older we get, if you're wise, it dissipates.
Yep.
But with that naivety, you don't often, if you're not actively training yourself and pushing forward, you won't know you're in a war until it's too late.
Completely agree.
Like, you're right. You're always in the war. But when you're young, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But there's going to be times in your life where you're going to get, your head's just going to get shot back out of surprise because of something that you never envisioned happening. And it comes in a massive amount of forms and from places you never saw it coming. And like you said, like, the war's happening now. And it's not really affecting you because you're 18 and the world's like, let's not involve them. They're still innocent.
Yep.
But once you get 26, 28, 30, they're like, hey, like, help.
It's
like, we need your help.
That's the thing. Actually, one thing I might disagree with you on is that we're saying that it's not happening, it's not super pertinent at an 18-year-old or just younger. I think that's the exact opposite. I think it's subtle right there. I think it's subtle, but it's planting seeds, right? So you're talking good and evil. Those evil seeds are just being planted.
The deceptive side of it is very active.
Incredible.
Versus once you gain wisdom and you can see it, it's like, okay, we can't deceive you anymore or as much.
Yep.
Now we're just going to fight you head on.
Right. So at that younger age where you're just coming into your adulthood, that is where it is the most pertinent to start being aware and working towards the betterment of yourself to avoid these things.
It's like investing. The sooner you only have $1. The sooner you put that $1 in, the more it's going to compound. The more high, the more seeds you can plant of a high value early on, the more it's going to compound over time.
Completely agree.
Yep. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're going right where I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, man. You know, like I said at the beginning, I would have no desire to go back and be 18. Like, even if I knew what I knew now, it wouldn't. I prefer learning what I've learned. And you're going to go through things that you're going to, I say this to anybody who's not around 30, you're going to go through things that are going to challenge you in ways that you don't expect. I used to have a euphemism for this. everybody, at some point in life, everybody gets fucked by the giant dick of life. Sorry for the French on that, but like, it's kind of realistic. It is. And I see this in some of the things that I do in the volunteer that I do sometimes. You can see, even, doesn't matter the age groups. I can have a 19-year-old who has way more life experience than these 25-year-olds, right? And you can have this naivety, like you mentioned, in a 25-year-old that this 19-year-old has already gained because life has just came down on them so hard.
Yep. Came down on them differently.
Exactly. And everybody's going to go through that at a different level. But I think being as prepared as you can, even though you cannot be prepared for everything.
Yeah.
And that's another note, actually, is understand that no matter how much prep you do, you're not going to be prepared for everything. Yep. So deal with the punches as they come.
Yep. Be the warrior in the garden, though.
Yes.
Be the warrior. You don't know when it's going to strike, but be the warrior.
Mm-hmm. Entirely.
Yeah.
I think another point that I just feel so pertinent is we look at relationships, right? So almost everybody's going to pursue relationships. Only the very few are called not to for whatever reason. But most everybody's going to pursue a relationship. And by relationship, I mean like a romantic relationship, right?
Okay.
Like being an 18-year-old kid looking for a girlfriend or somebody that you want to pursue, right?
It's all consuming.
It turns into the all-consuming thing, right?
Yeah.
And to me, I think the most pertinent bit of info that anybody can hand you is when you're pursuing a woman, if you're a male, if you're pursuing a woman, pursue her for the relationship and not for sex. Sex cannot be your end-all, be-all goal. All right, like sex is part of a mature relationship. In my stance, it would be obviously when you're married, but to each their own, I get it. But if you make that a singular goal, like, ooh, I want to try to find somebody I can have sex with, that's going to take you literally down we're talking good and evil path. That's a seed right towards evil. You are not going to fruit yourself anything good for that.
No.
You're going to damage yourself. You're going to damage the woman you're with. You're not going to do anybody any good. If you're pursuing relationships, make sure it is for the relationship, the longevity of it, and not for sex.
Yep. And like you said, in the ideal world, you would court someone, you'd marry them, you'd both be honest and truthful, and you would form a ideal relationship, and then you would start procreating. But obviously, that's not reality.
The world is the world.
My rule, I'm glad you brought that up. My rule, or if my bit of advice is, if you are not ready to be the best parent you could possibly be and give that human being the best life that they deserve. And I know the word deserve, I think as an adult, don't use the word deserve, but a child, there's certain things that they deserve from their parents.
Yes, 100%.
And if you're not able, like maybe mentally you're like, oh, like maybe the soul, the spirit, what is it? The spirit is strong, but the flesh is weak.
Yes.
The mind is willing, but the flesh is weak. Like, your heart might be in the right place, but guess what, dude? Like, you're working at McDonald's. Now you got to pay for hospital bills. You got to provide your girlfriend because she's gonna be laid off for a while. You got this little infant. How much don't you know that this child needs? Like, are you getting the best nutrition? So my best bit of advice to anyone who would ask, they never have.
No,
is if you are not in a spot where you could be the ideal parent or the parent to the best of your abilities to provide for your offspring, your little human being that you're bringing into this world, if you're not able to provide them with the best life that you possibly can, don't have sex.
No. And that is such a hard thing to grab, right?
It's a hard thing.
Like, I've thought about this in a lot of different ways. I'm like, how can you impart that in any way that somebody will take it? Realistically, you can't, because anybody is going to receive whatever they're going to receive. Like, I wouldn't listen to somebody if they told me that. Like, I'd be like, I'm going to do what I want. Like, I still do. Like, we don't listen to every bit of advice that's given to us because we just need to learn at our own pace. But that being said, I can't stress that enough. Like, we're hardwired to want to have sex, right? As males, we are just hardwired to spread our genes. Like, ready, go. And it's... It's a beautiful part of creation that the women are the selecting gender for us. Because, man, if we had any say in like just total domination, it would be a crazy, crazy world.
Yeah.
But no, it's a hard thing to stifle and deal with, but it is a very, very pertinent and useful thing to deal with.
I would say just don't even start if you haven't even had sex yet. Because once you have sex,
it's like open up Pandora's box.
Yeah, it's like having that first drink of alcohol. It's like I don't want to drink tonight, but then you have that first drink. It's like I'll have another, then another, and then before you know it, you're tipsy, and it's like shots. Round everyone at the bar gets a shot. And you check the bank statement in the morning. What the heck happened? Yep.
Right.
But it's easiest if you just don't.
No, right.
Focus on your goals. Focus on what you want in life. Work on those, and then, and it's kind of a catch-22,
right? Or
it's kind of ironic that by you focusing on what you want and living a truly good life, that's going to attract the zenith of mankind.
Yeah, exactly.
So not only are you going to accomplish the things you want to accomplish, and your life's going to be far better because of it, you're going to attract a much better partner.
And not just like physically either, like in your overall beneficial. It's astonishing, right?
Because like attracts like, and if you're living your best life, you're going to attract someone who's living their best life.
100%. Are you familiar with the concept of hypergamy? Have we ever gone over this? Okay,
yes.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, to go off what you're saying here, so if you're making yourself better and better and better, hypergamy is a concept that women are typically aiming for a person at a socioeconomic level equal or above where they're at.
Correct.
So if you're just pursuing and making yourself a better person, like you stated, you will actively become more attractive to a higher value of person. It's just awesome. But, man, how ignorant and narrow-minded we can get on that.
Oh, yeah.
It's I don't even know if it's astonishing. It's just hardwired, but
it's almost humorous at this point.
Right? It kind of is, though.
What are some
other points here?
Yeah, or do you want to keep on this one?
No, I got a bunch. I think I'll bounce around. So, one that I've just recently come to re-love again at 29. Like, it took me all this time to get there. Like, I would say I haven't had this love of this since boyhood. So, like, you take your teenage years and then now we're at 29 and I found it again. I think it's just beautiful for that. Is having a connection or a love for the outdoors. I know that might be like a little off base, but dude, I think there is something deep in that. Like, whether or not you want to be a hunter or fisherman, I don't care. Like, hike or camp or do something outdoors. I find that I used to love video games. I cannot do them anymore. And that's not to bash them or anything. I think there's a pro and a con to it, right? But finding a love of nature is, I kind of find this in the same vein as creativity. It's something you really, really don't think about often. You may do it. You may enjoy the outdoors. But if you put an active effort of being connected to something outdoors, whether maybe it is hunting and fishing, maybe you love that. Maybe you don't know that you love it, but you always wanted to try it. Give it a shot. Do something related to the outdoors. Man is not meant to live in a living room on a couch staring at a TV all day. Even if you're somebody who likes reading or something like that, go read outside. Do something in the outdoors.
There's a quote. I don't know who it's by.
Sure.
That it's slightly related to that, but not entirely. Mm-hmm. A shift, dude. Get a shift. A ship is safe in harbor, but that's not what ships are for.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Something to kind of add on to that, and your creativity point, is solitude, which you kind of get from both of those. And there's like two things about that I would say is like, enjoy your chances. First off, like, don't be afraid to be alone.
Agree.
Yeah, like I always was, I always like need to be around someone.
Same.
Like, don't be afraid of, like, that's some of your best moments. Like some of the environments that you will grow the most or learn the most about yourself is in solitude. Now, don't just sit there.
Right.
You have to get out and you have to experience and, do something that's way out of your comfort zone. Like we just went skydiving, which isn't too far out of our comfort zone.
No.
But we decided that every year we would do something. From here on out, every year we're going to do something that just we've never done before and just pushes us in an adrenaline fashion, and just with it. But the second point of that is appreciate the moments of solitude you get, because the older you get, the fewer they become.
Yep.
Because the amount of responsibility that you acquire,
it's going to take it all away from you.
And it's not even like your own life. Like you could be a minimalist in every aspect of your life and be like, nope, I just want to do this and this. But I think one of the most important things in life that you should really be focusing on is nurturing your relationships.
Agreed.
And that's a huge topic, but like just to make the point, nurturing relationships. And if you are really caring about those people around you and they care about you, their responsibilities, their problems in life now become yours.
Yep.
Like, it's like you love this person, your best friend. Well, guess what? They're going through a terrible scenario in life. Well, guess what? They need you to call. They need you to invite them to have a beer every other week.
Right.
You know what I mean? You need, they need you to help with this. They need, and guess what? Times that by 10 people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, your life might only have this in it, but guess what? Now you've got 10 more.
100%.
So enjoy the solitude when you can.
And I love that you use the word solitude, because there's a difference here. I completely agree. I think, and that's something I've been fighting with this year, going through a divorce, is like, I instantly wanted to find the next person. I was like, I don't like being alone. I don't like being alone. But I've learned more this year than I have in the last 10 years combined about how to develop as an individual. And all of that is because of my own ability to be in solitude. The distinction of solitude versus being alone. Being alone and solitude, you could say the same thing, but I love the word of solitude, because what we're doing with that is we're taking time to be alone and to be in a present in our aloneness. Being alone, what you're going to do is do something like, I'm by myself, but I'm going to watch TV, I'm going to listen to some music, I'm going to do something that is distracting my mind, I'm not going to be present. That is not useful. It's not like a bad thing. Like, you can't just always be thinking and going. But I'm saying, if you're spending all of your time distracting yourself, you are never being in solitude and in present value of your own being. I think it's a huge distinction. Whereas I think a lot of people now like to chalk it up as being alone. But what you're doing is, at this age range, we have two developmental stages that are beneficial or non-beneficial in life in regards to relationships, right? So the one direction we can go is we can be alone and develop a sense of isolation from people. Isolation is the word I'm looking for. Okay? And that's not very useful. Solitude useful, isolation not. The positive direction you can go with that is going to be developing meaningful relationships. And it runs off what you were just saying. You should pursue meaningful relationships with people. Not just your menial, like, oh, I got a whole bunch of friends. No. You need it. I don't really care. Like, everybody can do whatever they want, but have meaningful relationships within those.
Quality over quantity.
100%. That actually rolls into one of my points is the friends that you are pursuing. Yeah, we'll call it that. Friends you're pursuing or that you are friends with, make sure that they are, I wouldn't say better than you, but people that are going to draw the best out of you.
Yeah.
Like, you can be around a lot of different people that are really fun, right? Like, there's plenty of people that are fun, but aren't going to do you a good thing. They're not going to bring the good out of you. They'll bring fun, they'll bring activities, they'll draw you towards things that seem entertaining. And I'm not saying to not be around them, but make sure that you have valuable people present in your life.
To know the difference between a situational and a lifelong friend.
Oh, yes.
Like, you like volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And there's a guy on your volleyball team that you like.
Mm-hmm.
And you you get along famously. You enjoy every single second with each other, but everything outside of that is
non-meaningful or not depthful.
Yeah. So it's like, completely enjoy your time with them.
Yep.
When you're in the game, when you're there.
Mm-hmm.
But know the difference between the two and put way more time into your lifelong relationships.
100%.
And, exactly. If there's a lot of people you're going to meet, a lot of people you're going to enjoy, a lot of people you're going to hang out with. And most of them, I would even say probably in the 96th, 97th percentile of them, in 5 years from now, you're going to struggle remembering their name.
Yep.
10 years from now, for sure.
100%.
And it's just, I think that ties into you get less time the older you get because you're responsible. So you don't have, like, let's say, I got some friends that I love.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to them in 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I love them though, but it's like, hey, like, I got this person needs this and this person needs this, and I got to call that person. And it's like, I don't have enough time in my day to keep 30, 40 relationships active. I have enough time to keep 10 to 12, 14 active, but not 20, 30. You know what I mean?
Completely agree. And I think one thing that's really important on this is, like, you and I have been friends for roughly 17 years, right? I think one of the things that makes it a distinctive friendship is there have been nearly like half a year where you and I have not seen each other, right? But I think one of the pertinent things about a relationship we have, and some that I have with the meaningful relationships I have, is I'm incredibly open and we physically discuss the relationship that we have. So if you want to be very deep with someone, be deep with someone. Don't hope that it happens. Don't just go, I think we're really good friends. Talk to them. Say, hey, I want you to know that I'm going through this thing in life. I would love to bring you into it. I can't for whatever reason, or I need your help with this. Like, physically, be intimate and be vulnerable with people of value. If you can open up a sense of vulnerability with valuable friends, you are going to deepen that relationship further and further.
And that comes from inner and expressed honesty.
Yes.
Truthfulness, honesty.
Yep.
Synonymous.
Yep.
But you got to be honest with them, and you have to be honest with yourself.
That's a big one.
Because if you're not honest with yourself, and this goes in every aspect of your life, if you're not honest with yourself, you're going to struggle.
Dude.
But when you are honest with yourself, you're going to face some demons, but you're honest with yourself. You know what the demon is. Tackle it, kill it, and then progress.
That's an extremely good one. I didn't even think about that, but I
didn't think about it until you just brought it up. So.
But no, I think of all these, and we have more, and that's fine, but I think this might be my favorite one, is being honest, but not just with people around you, with yourself.
Yes.
I've spent years and years not being honest with myself. This year being the first year that I've taken the time to do so. And man, it's ugly. It's got a lot of just ugly demons sitting in the closet that I ignored for years and years. But at this point in time, at any point in time, take the time to be honest with yourself so that you can be honest with others and just benefit the whole world around you. Bring full circle this thing. If you can start there, you can plant good seeds to fruit good fruit in your life that you can then pass on to the rest of people in your nearby life, your community, in your family, friends, relationships. Start it with that sense of honesty internally.
Clean your room.
Clean your damn room.
We've got 1 minute left.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
No, I think that's good.
No one's going to watch this, but if
That's all right.
If someone does and you have a question that you're curious about, or like that you just want to get
Our take on it?
someone else's opinion on it, we'd love to
Hear it.
Yeah. Maybe we can make a video on it. There's certain topics we won't touch on, but we might. All right, man.
Awesome.
Love you.
Love you too.